Hello everyone. Today I will tell you a story. The story is titled, When Quirky Hears My Gentle Call. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you appreciate me. You can skip this if you don and oppose. Like this video. Thank you very much. The story begins as follows. The morning began the way most ordinary mornings do. Quiet, unremarkable, and easy to overlook if you weren't paying attention. Sunlight slipped through the curtains in thin, patient lines, landing softly on the wooden floor. Outside, the street was awake but unhurried. A distant motorbike, a broom sweeping leaves, a bird practicing the same short song again and again. Quirky lay near the window, his body curled into a familiar shape, half asleep, half aware of the world. His ears twitched now and then, responding to sounds only he seemed to care about. His breathing was slow and even, the kind that tells you a creature feels safe enough to rest without fear. I moved around quietly, not because I had to, but because I didn't want to disturb the calm. I washed my face, poured a cup of coffee, and stood for a moment doing nothing at all. Quirky didn't move. He simply existed, content in the background of my life, like a warm, steady rhythm. Then, without thinking too much about it, I said his name. Quirky. Not loud, not urgent, just a gentle call, spoken the way you might speak to someone you trust to hear you even when you whisper. At first, nothing happened. Then one ear lifted. Just one. His eyes opened slowly, blinking as if the world had politely asked for his attention instead of demanding it. He didn't jump up. He didn't rush. He simply looked at me, and in that look was a quiet question. Are you talking to me? I smiled. Hey, buddy. That was enough. His tail tapped the floor once. Then again. He stood up, stretched his front legs long and low, back legs stiff and sleepy. He shook himself gently, fur rippling like water, and took a few careful steps toward me. No excitement, no chaos, just calm movement guided by trust. When he reached me, he didn't bark or demand attention. He sat down, close enough that his side touched my leg, and tilted his head slightly. His eyes were soft, curious, and warm. It felt as though he wasn't just responding to my voice, but to the feeling behind it. In that moment, I realized something simple but powerful. Quirky didn't come because I called loudly. He came because I called gently. And somehow, that gentleness mattered more than anything else. As the day unfolded, I noticed how often Quirky responded not to commands, but to tone. When I dropped my keys, he barely reacted. When a neighbor called out loudly, he glanced and went back to lying down. But when I spoke softly, whether it was his name, a short sentence, or even a sigh, his attention returned to me every time. Later that morning, I sat on the floor to tie my shoes. I didn't ask him to come over. I didn't pat my leg. I simply said, almost without sound, Quirky, I'm here. He walked over and lay down beside me, resting his chin on my knee. There was no expectation in his posture. He didn't want a treat. He didn't want to walk. He just wanted to be near. We went out for a short walk after that. The street was busier now, full of movement and noise. Quirky walked calmly, pausing to sniff familiar spots, greeting the world at his own pace. When he drifted a little too far ahead, I didn't pull the leash. I simply called his name, softly, the same way I had in the morning. Each time, he turned back. Not because he was afraid. Not because he was trained to obey instantly. But because he recognized that voice as something safe. Something worth returning to. In the afternoon, while I worked at my desk, Quirky settled nearby. Sometimes he slept. Sometimes he watched me type, eyes following my hands as if they were telling a story he was trying to understand. When I grew tired and leaned back, letting out a long breath, he stood up and came closer. I didn't call him then. I didn't need to. He had already learned to listen to the quiet parts of me. As the day slowed toward evening, we shared small routines. Filling his bowl, sitting together on the floor, watching the sky change colors through the window. At one point, I called his name again, just to see. Quirky. He looked up immediately, tail wagging once, eyes bright. Not excited, just happy to be included. It struck me that our connection wasn't built on big gestures or constant attention. It was built on presence, on consistency, on the understanding that a soft call doesn't mean weakness, it means trust. Quirky didn't need me to be loud to feel close. He needed me to be kind, even in my voice. When Quirky hears my gentle call, he reminds me of something deeply important about life today. In a world filled with noise, notifications, demands, arguments, and constant urgency. We often believe that to be heard, we must speak louder. But Quirky teaches the opposite. He listens not to volume, but to intention. In our relationships with other people, and even with ourselves, gentleness is often overlooked. We rush conversations, interrupt emotions, and expect instant responses. Yet true connection, like the bond between a human and an animal, grows in quiet moments. It grows when we speak with care, listen without pressure, and allow space for trust to form naturally. From Quirky, we can learn to slow down. Call someone not to demand their attention, but to invite it. Speak softly when the world feels harsh. Be present without always needing to control outcomes. Animals respond to sincerity, and so do people, sometimes even more deeply. In daily life, try lowering your voice when you want understanding. Pause before reacting. Offer kindness in small, consistent ways. These habits create safer emotional spaces, not just for animals, but for everyone around us. The bond between humans and animals shows us a better way to live, one built on respect, patience, and gentle connection. When we learn to call softly, we may find that more hearts are willing to come closer.